Hello YouTube, this is William. Working on some crooked knives, and thought maybe I'd go through the anatomy of the crooked knife and explain the difference between a crooked knife and a hook knife. There's a lot of confusion about some people call a crook knife or crooked knife a hook knife, and a hook knife a crooked knife. So thought maybe I'd go through them and try to explain the differences of the two and the benefits of each one. And so stick with me, let me reposition the camera and we'll get to it. Okay, on the table I've got several different this is just a little carving knife. This is a matching set I'm making for myself to use in the shop. This is a hook knife, okay? And the hook knife is just a blade that looks like a hook. Now this could be square on the end, or it could be pointed like this one. And I made this one so that I could do spoons if I wanted to. I easily can do spoons. But the main reason I did it is because on the back of my crooked knife handles I do a channel that shows that for the thumb, where the thumb rides on the crooked knife. So I needed something to do that. I've been doing that with a knife, just a regular knife, and so I wanted to do a hook knife so that it would do that channel. And you see it does those channels very well. A lot of people like these the hook knives for doing spoon bowls and things like that, which they're very good at that. And they'll get in there and they'll dig out a lot of material for, and it don't take long. You have a bowl for a spoon. And this is not the best carving wood in the world. It's old yellow pine. It's got some, you can see the grain in it where that grain wants to catch the blade. But anyway, you can see in just a little bit of a short time you've got a pretty good bowl for a spoon. Now and that's a hook knife, okay? It's got the little hook, looks like a question mark, okay? Now a crooked knife is different. A crooked knife is called a crooked knife not because of this, because these tips can be a lot of different shapes and forms, okay? See, this one just has a very slight crook on it, whereas this one has a larger crook, and so does the rest of these. Now the benefits of it are, let me back up here. It's called a crooked knife not because of this, but because of this. See how it's got that bow? That's why it's called a crooked knife. It's because the blade is not set in there straight. Now I see a lot of noctagons and things like that of people making that sets the blade in straight, but a traditional noctagon and a crooked knife, the blade is set in there at an angle. And that's so when you grab it to do your draw cuts to yourself, see if I can do this, your blade is set at an angle so that it assists you where you don't have to put your wrist at an awkward angle when you're doing your draw cuts, okay? So that's primarily what the crooked knife is for. Now this knife was made by the indigenous peoples in Canada. Before they had metal, they would use beaver teeth to make their crooked knives, and they it's many stories has been told of them going into the forest with just a crooked knife and an axe or a tomahawk in the wintertime on snowshoes, and come back in a birch bark canoe with just a crooked knife and a small axe of some type. And they can make an entire canoe with just a crooked knife. Now typically their crooked knives were fairly straight, and that's the reason they had those is because they only used them for planing wood primarily. A crooked knife is also great because it has a chisel grind, which means that it's only ground to one side. There's no back grind. It's just ground to one side, and it's very sharp, and it does real fine feather sticks. That's why it carves in wood so well. Now, a lot of people like this crooked part here to be more than this, than a traditional, so that they can do bowls, and it has a longer blade here so that it can get in deep and do the bowls for Cuscas and cups, and well, Cusca is a cup, but and bowls and things like that, so they can get in there and get that material out. So you can also do spoons and things with a crooked knife as well. It's just a little bit more awkward. You have to get used to it, but it can still be done. Also, I find that a crooked knife is great for working wood, because you can take it on the back side and you can round the corners off. It also not only squares wood, but it'll also round the corners. So if you're trying to do bushcraft or things like that, and you're trying to square lumber, then a crooked knife will certainly do that for you. Just very simple, like that. And again, this is yellow pine. It's not the best in the world to carve with. And also I haven't sharpened these yet. But anyway, that is the crooked knife. It's a very useful tool. Ray Mears said it was like having a toolkit all in one tool, or some paraphrase to that effect. Now I mean, if you're squaring lumber, this is about all you need. Is you just need that tip to get up out of your way, and you could plane lumber very easily with one of these. And I have this one in my kit to do bowls and spoon bowls and things like that, and do channels and all of that. So the other thing is some people are concerned about the cord wrap. They don't understand how the cord wrap works. So how that works is these blades have a lip, or an angle, a 90-degree angle on them, and they fit in a notch inside the handle. They just fit in that notch that I carved, which is the traditional way of doing them, and they're just wrapped with nylon cord. And the nylon cord is wrapped real tight. It stretches and it holds them in these notches. And if you wrap it correctly, then there's no danger of them coming out whatsoever. I have never had one come out on me. But the reason you do that instead of using pins is in case you break one in the bush or wherever, then you can just toss it aside, take your blade, and go carve you a new handle fairly simple. Now this one here is inset. This has got a rat tail tang that's inset in the wood and epoxy. So if that ever broke, the handle, then I'm gonna have a difficult time in the woods of recreating that. But if this handle was to break in the woods, then I could take the blade and carve me a new handle, fairly simple, with just a knife, and without any problems at all. Well, I hope that answers questions and explains the difference between a hook knife and a crook knife. A crook knife will do the same things as a hook knife will, but it also gives you an additional means of planing wood that a hook knife doesn't give you. Now, if you're not planning on squaring lumber and making dimensional lumber in the bush, then all you're going to do is make spoons or shallow bowls, then a hook knife will do you proud. But if you're planning on doing dimensional lumber, like making pack frames and squaring lumber and things like that in the bush, then you will the hook knife would serve you better. Okay, so hope that it explained it. Hope you got some new information out of that. And until the next one, you guys get out in the backyard, whittle on a stick. If you do take a child, will you teach that child how to whittle on a stick? Build a fire. And if you do, take plenty of Band-Aids and lots of knives. We'll catch you again soon.